Welcome to part 2 of the Peterbilt 359 build-up. We've managed to get the engine together now, and it's looking pretty good. I mean, that is literally the whole engine in one go. The instructions mainly call for it to be in one colour with a few parts in sort of different colours like blacks and sort of aluminiums, etc. But what I'm going to do is just spray the whole lot down in the body colour that I want it to be in, and then once that's done, I will then just paint the bits that need to be painted in the separate colours. Do those by hand, and then put the decals on that need to go on, and then I will clear coat this in the light sheen Bioclad, and then that should do it. The colour that I've actually chosen is going to be done in the body colour. Actually, it's a two-tone I'm going for. The first part of the two-tone is this colour, which is a violet. So the engine is going to be done in that. The body will be done in a two-tone violet and silver colour, and hopefully that should look pretty good. Not really too sure at the moment of the actual design of the two-tone that's going to go on the body. I'm going to need to look at that really once I've got the body built. But in the meantime, I can get the engine built, which means that I can then get the rest of the bits and pieces put onto the chassis, including the wheels, etc. And then we're going to have a rolling chassis, which will be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm just going to get this clear coated in a while. I just need to let the glue dry. There's a few areas where I just need to go in with some Mr. Perfect putty, just to really sort of get rid of some seams that are in there. I did have on the bottom a couple of big divots, so I just basically used squadron putty in those rather than the perfect plastic putty, as they were a bit too big to fill up. So yeah, I just got a few loose bits just tying around the edges here, around that bit, just there. Go in with a perfect plastic putty and get those done, and that'll be those sort of seams sorted really. The other thing that needs to be painted for the engine are both of the pulley systems, which are there. We've got that one there and that one there. Not really bothered about taking those off of the sprue just yet, because it's the belts that are actually holding those on, so they'll be painted a different colour anyway, so that's not too much of an issue. So yeah, that's about it for the moment. As I say, I'm just going to get those last few niggly bits done, and then once they're sorted out, I'll get the engine primered and painted. I would imagine I'll be spraying the engine down in silver first before I go in with this to do it, just to help to try and sort of lighten it up a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of like where we are at the moment. So as soon as I made some more progress on this wee beastie, I will come back to you. We got the engine painted now. That's looking pretty good. As you know, that was the Pentart acrylic paint. It's a metallic colour, and it's the violet that we used. That was basically a 50-50 mix of the paint and water, with a couple of drops of retarder in there as well. I used a fairly low PSI on the airbrush, and the engine has had about 5 or 6 coats. It's one of those paints, pretty much, well, like your Americana paints or something like that, where you have to really kind of dust the paint on and just build it up over a period of time, which is what I've done with this. So that's painted now and looking pretty good. Quite happy with the results on that. liking the way that it's looking. The next stage for me really on this is now just to let this paint dry completely. We've got a couple of decals, one that needs to go there, another one that needs to go there, and there's one that needs to go on that end. So all I'm going to do with those is I'm basically just going to paint on some gloss clear coat onto the areas where the decals go, so we don't get the silvering effect. Once they're on, I'll then just quickly go over them again once they're dry with some more clear coat, the gloss clear coat. Once that's completely dried, then I'll go over the whole of the engine with the Alclad light sheen, just so we can get a light sheen to the engine, which is what I want. And then we can just start painting all of the other bits and pieces that need to go on the engine as well. So that's done. Let me just put that back in its little support. There we go. The other thing that we've got done as well is the trailer hook. The top of this has been done in silver, and then I basically put masking tape over the top of that. It's the green frog tape. And then I've just cut around the edges and then sprayed all of the edges and also the backside in black. And then we've kind of done the same thing with the radiator. The inside of the radiator was done with the aluminium on both sides, and then again with the frog tape I just put it in there, traced around the edges with a toothpick just to make sure that it was nicely butted up against the sides, and then cut that out with a scalpel and then painted the outsides of that with the semi-gloss black. We just got a few auxiliary bits done as well. We also got the radiator surround done there as well. These actually go underneath the metal steps on the vehicle, so they've been painted in black as well. We've also got the hitch. Well, this is the part that the hitch goes onto, and then these are the mud flaps. So I've got those done as well. I just need to flip those over. As you can see, the other side hasn't been painted yet, so I just need to, once that's fully dried, just flip them over and get the other sides done on that. I've also got the radiator fan belt done as well, and this part as well that sits at the top of the radiator as well. The two big hoses that are at the front of the engine will sit hopefully underneath them bits. So we've got quite far with this at the moment. As I say, I'm just waiting for that paint to cure properly before I start applying the clear gloss to it in the area that I need. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is just go along, unmask everything that I've got masked up. It doesn't need to be masked up, and then just have a look, see if there's anything else that we can do. I have kind of skipped a few steps really just to get those parts done. I just thought it was beneficial just to sort of get all of those bits done whilst we're waiting for the engine to dry. Once the engine's dry properly and all the bits are done to it and it's had its light sheen clear coat done to it, we'll then be able to attach that to the chassis and get a few more bits and pieces put onto it, and then hopefully we'll be able to get the wheels onto it, which would be the last steps for that. But yeah, we're kind of almost to step 39 now, which is fantastic. So I'm going to carry on, do the few bits that I can do, and as soon as I've made some more progress to the engine and the other bits, I will come back to you. Now got the engine clear coated, we got the decals etc on there as well, so that's kind of starting to look okay. That's had the Alclad light and sheen clear coat put on it, so quite happy with the way that turned out. Just waiting for that now really to dry before I can put that onto the leather frame chassis. So what I'm doing at the moment, whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, is I'm kind of thinking ahead really about the other parts that need to go onto the chassis. And the two biggest things that need to go onto the chassis are both of the fuel tanks. Now, these fuel tanks do come in two parts, which isn't very good, because that does mean that you are going to be left with a big seam all over the place. Now, the problem that I've actually found with these is that this one has a slight step to it that you can actually feel when you run your fingers over. In fact, you can't actually get your fingernail past that lip. And on this one, hopefully it will show up on camera, but it looks as though somebody has attacked it with some kind of file before the chrome was actually put on, which isn't good. And it's the same with this one. You've got a big lip just there, which is going to need to be gotten rid of. This side isn't too bad, so that's not too bad. But this one doesn't have, well, this one actually does have a small amount of issues with it as well. You can see where somebody slightly attacked it with a file before it was chromed for some strange reason. I don't know why, unless there's an issue with the mould. I don't actually know how old the tooling is for this kit, but I've certainly found out through building this that there's quite a lot of the parts, even though they fit together fairly well, they do have big lips on them. Point in case, if I can find them, here they are. These bits of pipe work have had some horrendous seams around here where the lips on them have been absolutely massive. And I've had to basically sit there for quite some time with different types of files and sandpapers and everything to get rid of the lips on them. So I think what I'm going to need to do with these parts, and more than likely the front bumper, and more than likely, well, just about every chrome part actually, I think I'm going to have to stick in a bowl of bleach to dechrome them. That way I can put them together, tidy them up, get the seams putted, and then I'll just use the good old liquid chrome pen I'll decant that into the airbrush and I'll just spray them with the chrome, and hopefully they'll come out pretty much well as nice as the wheels did on the BMW. But yeah, there's a lot of work to do there, so I'm gonna have to get a bowl with some bleach and soak those parts. Now normally those parts don't take too long to dechrome in bleach. I think I've found that it normally takes just a good couple of hours to dechrome, but you never know, some kits might take a little bit longer, especially with the wheels, because some of those wheels are quite complicated. But it does basically mean that every single part that I've got that's chrome, I am going to have to dechrome it and then redo it. So we're looking at not only those two tanks there, but you know, we've also got these parts here. We've also got these parts that are going to need to be dechromed and redone. These ones up here I'm not too worried about because these are the little lights, so hopefully that might make lighting those a little bit easier. But then in this bag we've got some other pretty big stuff. So we've got the bumper there, the front bumper with some lights in it. We've obviously got the big grille there that needs doing, the wing mirrors and yada yada yada. Well, you know, there's just loads of stuff that needs to be dechromed. And then redone. I think some of the stuff, to be quite honest, especially this smaller stuff on here, I'm kind of thinking to myself, it's going to just be easier to just leave those on the sprue to dechrome them and then take them off and then paint them, because otherwise I think if I just take everything off, A, I'm going to get confused as to what part's what, and B, I could end up losing a few parts as well. So I think to begin with, I'm just going to sort of like, you know, all of the smaller parts will come off, and like these big parts here, that's, you know, this is not so much of a problem. These parts here again, not so much of a problem. And that big part there, whatever that's for, and the little air horns as well, they can come off, you know, and the wheels, but the rest of it, yeah, certainly going to leave it on the sprue whilst I bleach those. But yeah, so that's a bit of a shame really, to be quite honest, because I was kind of hoping that I'll be able to keep the chrome fairly consistent. But you know, I'm not going to just dechrome the fuel tanks and then leave the rest of them as they are. I think that's going to look a bit odd. So I think if you're going to do everything, I don't know, I might get away with doing the wheels. I don't know. I'll think about that actually, to be quite honest. I think the wheels, the level of chrome that's on these wheels, I think would actually look quite good and would fit quite well with the actual size of the kit, because this is a 1/16 scale. So I think that they would be okay left like that. But I think certainly, yeah, the rest of them, just to keep it all in the same sort of tone, I think they're going to need to come off, because there's other things as well. Like we've got this back plate here that goes on the chassis, that's going to need to be chromed. And then we've got on here, we've got the two step plates as well that are going to need to be chromed as well. So, you know, yeah, I'm kind of thinking it might be best just to cut the losses really and just dechrome absolutely everything, and then look at it from there. I think some of it doesn't really matter. I don't have to do it all at once, because some of it I'm not really going to use until near the end of the build. So I think for the moment I'm just going to get the main bits done that I need, and then worry about the rest of them later. Plus the fact these tanks as well are also going to need a little bit of work, extra painting as well, because these areas here and these little markings here that go all the way around the tank, the straps, need to be painted in a separate colour as well. So, you know, yeah, there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done to those, just to sort of help them look a little bit more realistic. So yeah, I'm going to carry on with those. As soon as I've got some more progress done to this wee beastie, I will come back to you. So sitting in a bath of Domestos thick bleach mixed with warm water. These parts were stripped and dechromed with inside 20 minutes, which isn't too bad actually. Quite happy with that. I've got a few more bits now sitting in the chrome bath waiting to be sorry, in the bleach bath waiting to be dechromed. And just as a thought, I'm not sure whether this is gonna show up on, yes it is, look at that. You can see where you've got a lot of scuff marks, and that's really rough around those edges there. So that really looks as though somebody's actually taken a file to that particular part. And again, you can see it on this part as well, where somebody's taken a file to it. And I'm sure if we look at the other bits, yeah, you got some slight file marks on the edge, sort of up this end on that part, and then on this one again, it's all down that side as well. So yeah, these have been, as I say, de-chromed now. It's kind of weird that we've got 2 parts that were chrome, that are black underneath, and then 4 parts that were grey underneath. The other good thing as well is with the Molotow chrome pen, we've painted this. This was done through my airbrush, and I shot that through at about 4 psi. Didn't bother thinning out the chrome in the Molotow pen. I just sprayed it on au naturel, and that is the result. And as you can see, it's creating a nice shadow. So we've got those parts done. We've also got the other step that goes up into the cabin. That's been done as well, so that's looking good. And we've also got the back part of the plate sorted out as well. This is causing sort of light shadows across the walls when I do that. But yeah, we've got the no, there you go. You can see the camera that I'm filming with. So yeah, this is the bottom part of the plate again. This is that stippled sort of metal effecty thing, and that will sit on the back of the chassis. Just need to really let that one dry because I need to turn that over and do the stipply side of it as well. We have got on the chassis now the toe bit, whatever they call that. I don't know. I'm not a tracker, so I wouldn't know. But the hitch, whatever it is on the back of the truck now. So what I need to really do now is just get these parts together, and just basically sort out all of the rough edges on these and get them smooth. Sorry, excuse me. And then I'll be able to paint them. Now the good thing with this is the fact that these 2 points here are to be painted in a different colour, so I can actually use a clamp or something to actually hold in between these 2 parts here, so I can spray the others, and then once the chrome is actually fully dried, I can then just hopefully, keep fingers crossed, just mask off around those areas where the paint needs to be done, and get those done in the colours that they need to get done in. Well, that should be pretty good. But yeah, first of all, I just need to get them together and tidy them all up. I'm just doing a lot of prep work at the moment for stuff that needs to be done. I'm just still waiting for the light sheen clear coat to dry on the engine. I think I'm not going to bother touching that now till tomorrow. So I'm just going to leave that as is. But yeah, that's about it for the moment. As soon as I made some more progress on this little beastie, I'll come back to you.